Alright YouTube, I'm finally going to make some time to get on the 48 Willys Jeep project. It's been a while since I've got to work on it. I've been working on everything else. But I need this thing to look like a Jeep again. Just kind of losing hope on the project. No inspiration without it looking like a Jeep. I need to get this engine mounted in there, and then we can start putting stuff back together. So let's get into it. So the last time I used the welder, I used it to weld exhaust. So since it's already set up for it, I'm going to go ahead and get this header welded back together. As you can see, there's a couple pipes missing right there. Once I do that, I can stick it back on the engine and see how everything's going to fit when I start putting the body back on and whatnot. So I'll jump on that, and then we're going to work on getting this engine mounted. Alright, I got the header welded back together. I'll be the first to admit that the welds are ugly, and it'll probably leak like a screen door on a submarine, but that'll work for now. I should probably mention that I'm not a car builder, I just play one on YouTube. So now that that's done, we can get back to this. I'm sure you don't remember what I did in the last video where I actually worked on it. I barely remember, but the issue is I have these mounts welded up, and the frame's kind of weak and it twists a little bit when I'm rocking the engine back and forth. So that's not going to work. So I'm going to brace it up. In the last video I was talking about maybe using this cross member. It's out of a Chevy van. It's a transmission cross member. After looking at it for a while, it's not going to work. It's just the angles aren't right and whatever. So I was digging around and I found this cross member. It's from a Ford van. You can tell it's from a Ford by the way it is. By that I mean greasy and grimy. Don't get mad at me, Ford guys, you know what's up. So what I'm going to do is cut it so it fits inside the frame rail. In the last video where I've actually worked on this thing, I drilled some holes in the frame to mount the transmission cross member. And in the comments someone said not to drill holes through the flanges because it'll tend to crack. So instead of trying to bolt this directly to the frame, what I'm going to do is take some angle iron and weld on the inside of the frame back in here, and I'll just bolt it up to that, and then I'll make some brackets come off the cross member up to here and bolt in, and that way if I ever need to take that cross member out just to get the oil pan off, or maybe even to pull the engine, I can just unbolt it and get it out of the way. So now I'm going to work on cutting all this up, trying to figure out what fits where and how I'm going to make it work. And I'll bring you back in. Alright, so I've been cutting and grinding and welding, and we're getting somewhere. Finally had the cross member in there. Over here I welded a bracket to the frame. Just tack welded it for now. Everything's tack welded. I went ahead and tack welded down here, this bracket coming up to here. It bolts to this, it bolts to there. So if I ever need to take the cross member out, I can just unbolt it. I'm going to go ahead and add some braces in here once I get everything welded up real good from that side. And then on the other side, I haven't got that all dialed in yet, but I do have it welded, the brace welded up under here to bolt it to, and now I'm just starting to make the brace for right there. I was lucky enough to find the exact same bolts that I used on the other side, so at least they all match. I'll take whatever win I can get, and then once I get this brace in, I don't know what I'm working on. There's plenty to pick from though. We'll get to that when we get there. So I'll go ahead and cut another piece for there, get it tacked in, bolted, and we'll move on. Alright, I got the other side tack welded in. I think once everything is all fully welded, it should be fine. If not, we're just going to weld everything to everything and deal with it later. But for a few months now, This engine's been sitting on that jack and this stack of wood over here. I wasn't able to move anything around because I had it exactly where I wanted it. So now I'm going to take all that stuff out of it for the first time. Then I think I'll throw the tub back on and start assembling the body and see how everything fits. Alright you guys, back on the Jeep. I know it's only been seconds for you, but the other night I went out to dinner and got food poisoning, so it took me down for a while. I think where I left off was I just got the engine mounted in there and took the jacks out from under it. So the frame's holding the engine now. And I was cleaning up the garage, getting ready to put the tub on. Took out the steering column. I have to cut the tub, the hole in the floor for it, since I moved it on the outside of the frame. Tub's over here, ready to go on. So we're going to do that next. And then I would like to cut the hole for the steering column. And then bring in the fenders, because I'm probably going to have to cut a hole in that too. And at the point to making puzzle pieces fit, sometimes you need a big hammer to make it fit, or cut something. Either way, we'll make it fit. And then I would like to stick the front axle under it again. It hasn't had a front axle under it or fenders since I think December. So it'll be nice to see it back together. Give me a little more motivation, hopefully. Alright, let's get the tub on there. Well, that was a frickin' struggle. Never had so much trouble putting the tub on. I've had it off and on at least 5 times, I'd say. Next I need to figure out about the steering column here. I'm gonna cut a hole in the floor right here. Hopefully this brace isn't in the way. If so, we're gonna be cutting on that too. Won't know till there's a hole to shove it through there. So I think I'll do that next. Yeah, let's do that next. Well, there you have it. I hacked the crap out of it. It's in there. It got a little carried away, but future me problems. So the steering column's all in. See, I had to hack that brace. Wasn't surprised. Brought the driver's side fender in. Looks like I'm just gonna have to bend it a little bit right here, and that'll go on. I'm gonna try that next. If that don't do it, well then we'll start cutting that up too. Alright, test fit this thing real quick. Alright, I got both the fenders on. This one I just had to bend a little bit. This one went right on. Never had a problem over there anyways. Now I think I want to try to put the front axle underneath it again. Here's the leaf springs. Took a couple of springs out of this pack. I think I'm going to do the same thing with this one. See how much that lowers it. It's not going to be low enough, but it'll be better than the way it was. So I'm going to work on that next. Alright, I kind of got the front axle in there. See where I'm going to have a clearance problem right there. Figured on that. Address that later. Right now I just want to see this thing on the ground. I'll throw some wheels on it and put it down on the ground. Alright you guys, it's back on the ground. There's the rest of the sheet metal on it. The back looks pretty good as far as height goes. The front, well, it needs to go down about 6 inches. Not surprised. Right now it's just kind of trial and error. Well, the next video won't be on the Jeep. I got other things to work on. Made some progress on it though, so that's always good. If you want to like and subscribe, maybe leave a comment, that'd be great. This thing's starting to come around. I can see it. I don't know if anybody else can picture what it's going to be, but here's where we're at. At least it'll get a good thumbnail, I hope. Well, like always, thanks for hanging out at Van Gogh Garage in Little Carburetor Spring, Colorado. Bye.